Hey there guys, how's it going? In this video I'm going to go over my medical kit. You guys have heard me talk about it, why I want to carry it more out there on the river. We're going to go through it, go kind of over some of the features about it, and kind of talk about why some of the features are in there or some of the objects are in there. If you guys have any other questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. If you think there's a piece of gear in there that shouldn't belong in there, or if there's a piece of gear that I should probably be carrying along in my kit, you know, feel free to leave that below as well. I'd love to learn more about it. I'd like to keep these kits with me. You know, they're the medical kits. They're something you have to have out there on the river. You know, so let's just start going through it. So first off, this is the bag I keep my medical kit in nowadays. You've all seen it already. This is a little Koi dry bag from Watershed. This is a lot better than the bag that the kit first came into. The kit, at least the backbone of this kit, came with a NRS dry bag. I lost it in my house here somewhere. I had it though. It's not a dry bag I was really happy with. It was one of those conventionals, you know, you roll it down 3 times and clip it together and hopefully it stays dry for you. Although NRS did try and beef it up by putting a little bit of a kind of Ziploc feature in there. I never could get that feature to work right, and when I did, the bag still leaked a little bit. I don't know if it was really my fault for not rolling it properly or if it was the bag's fault. There are several factors in there. Let's just say the bag was not up to my standards, so that's why I'm upping it to my little Koi bag here. This bag has been great. I've talked about this bag and Watershed bags before on this channel. So if you guys kind of want to get your own little Watershed bag of Koi, either the Koi style or any of the other duffel bag styles, or any other Watershed bag there is, there will be a link in the description here, so go ahead and check it out. I've stated this before, but I personally love these Watershed bags. So enough of that, let's go ahead and get into the kit a little bit here. So the original kit I got from NRS came with these little individual bags wrapped up already, which was really nice. You could keep your equipment kind of separate and in more watertight bags, and then, you know, try and protect your equipment a bit more. This one's kind of banged up a little bit, kind of more a fault of the shears that are in the bag. They keep poking holes in there. This little syringe might have done that a bit as well. But it's kind of nice to give you these clear bags to keep your stuff contained, but you can still look in there and see what kind of bag and what kind of equipment you are grabbing. And I kind of went with that feature throughout the rest of the bag here as well. This little bag is kind of dedicated more towards the injury style. So this has got tape in there, this has got gloves, bandages, I think there's a tourniquet floating around in there too, band-aids, and you can see it all from this outside, so that's what's really nice about it. Another part of this NRS kit that came around too was this bag here. This is more along the lines of the survival aspect. This has got a little wilderness kind of emergency first aid book in there, so you can kind of, if you haven't been in the medical world at all, you don't know much about it, it's a fun little book to read. It's also nice to have this on hand as well, in case there's something you have to go back and look at to make sure you had right, or make sure you're doing a certain step in stabilizing a rafter or customer or somebody you find out there on the river. You know, it's a nice little thing to have around, kind of a reference book there. In this bag as well is a face shield for CPR, and it's this little yellow thing right there. If you're familiar with CPR at all, they usually come in or at least CPR masks, excuse me anyway, they usually come in kind of a harder case or quite a bit bigger. You don't really find these flat masks out there anymore. In this kit it's fine. I have another one in this kit anyway, so this is kind of useless to me right now, but it's nice to have a second just in case there's more than one person who needs CPR out there, or a step into CPR, like choking or unconscious choking would be a thing you could use a CPR mask for as well. Along in this bag is pencils, there's matches, there's these little cotton balls. They've got some sort of flame starter on there as well. So like I said, this is kind of more along the lines of the survival thing for in case you have to survive a night out there and you're not really prepared for it. Another big thing that came in that kit is this C-splint is what they call it. A lot of people actually know these by the name of Sam splint. They are really nice. It's kind of a foam mesh or foam material on either side that actually you can morph into all sorts of configurations. What's really nice about this yellow one actually is it actually has diagrams here on the front and the back. Yep, that'll actually show you how you can use this splint, and it's a really good thing to have around because you don't have to scrounge for that specific piece of wood or maybe that specific thing to splint an arm with or a leg with. You can just pull this out, morph it in whatever shape you need it to be in, and you can tape it up, splint it, do whatever you need to do with this. And these can actually be used for a cervical collar as well for a person who has a neck injury or a suspected neck injury out there in the wilderness. I used to carry one of these a lot when I was a ski patroller, so I had quite a bit of ski patrol background. Thankfully, the area I worked at, we never really got to use them unless we were practicing, so it was kind of nice that I didn't have to use these on anybody in an actual incident, but it's kind of a bad thing because, you know, I didn't get the experience of doing it, but I did get to practice with them a lot, so I would heavily suggest picking one of these up. They're usually pretty cheap. You can find them on Amazon. They do come in all sorts of other colors. This is just what the color and kind that came in the NRS pack. They usually come in an orange color as well, but they're all the same really. They just come in different names. So that's the stuff that came with the NRS kit to begin with. Like I said, I'm adding a CPR mask. That's what this is. It's a little bulkier, as you can tell. And in here is actually another pair of gloves and a alcohol swab as well. So when I'm out there on the river, I can pull this out. It'll provide a bit better face protection than the little flat mask in this bag. This is, it's not quite your conventional CPR mask. You actually have to inflate this one a little bit. But, you know, there it is. Nice compact, a little bit better protection. It's actually got a filter in there, so the person's not going to regurgitate stuff back into you. That sounds disgusting, and, you know, it would be disgusting if that actually happened. But in situations like how the world is at the moment, using kind of those barriers to keep yourself healthy and protective is a good way to kind of protect yourself, of course, out there as you're doing stuff. So a good CPR mask is something else that you can pick up pretty cheap. Like I said, Amazon usually has them pretty good, or your local drugstore probably have several different kinds of these. The ones I usually practice with will actually come in like a harder kind of oblong oval shaped thing, but they all work. The main point is once you get your equipment, you know, pull it out, look at it, inspect it, get used to seeing it. And it's the equipment that be in your medical kit. Like I said, this is mine, so all this stuff I'm familiar with, and that's the big thing about the kits is there. Just pull the gear out of their wrapping, look at them, get your hands on with them, practice with them if you have the ability to practice with them, and just get familiar with them. But moving on here, another big thing I added in this is a lot more tape. You can never have enough tape out there. If anything happens and it's not staying on the arm like a piece, and you don't have a Sam splint or something like that, you know, just put a stick on there and tape the heck out of it. So it's lots of tape, lots of different sizes of tape here. Got some more gauze bandage in there and gloves. You can never have enough tape or gloves, or gauze bandage for that matter. And I need more gauze. So got that. More stuff added here. Got a nifty little bag here. Is, well, I guess lo and behold, more gauze, more bandage, you know, typical stuff you find in a first aid kit. Bandages or band-aids for, you know, little scrapes and bruises, gauze for the bigger stuff, and I've got looks like some butterfly bandages for, you know, holding skin together. You know, people might be squirming for me talking about this, but, you know, you're outside on the river. A little bit of blood, it happens. I will shamefully say I have cracked my mom in the head with a paddle before. It was a long time ago, and, you know, she bled. You know, it was a day that I learned, you know, paddle blades are called blades for a reason. They are sharp, given right circumstances. So, you know, first aid kits. Other than that, you know, more gloves, of course. And then another big one I added is actually a notebook. Either it wasn't a notebook that came with this kit, but you know, a notebook and some, I put Sharpies in this kit. There's a pencil in that one. But these again came out of my old Ski Patrol kit, and they work wonders. This little green notebook is actually a Write in the Rain notebook, so you can write on it when it's wet. And then these little Sharpies are very much an excellent thing to have. You can write on a lot of stuff with them, and these two actually have gone below 0 temperatures with me before, because they are also part of my, or were part of my Ski Patrol kit. And being out there on the mountain and cold, and going at the speed you go at when you're skiing down a mountain, you know, riding lifts and whatnot, these guys went below 0 quite a few times, and they're still working perfectly fine. So a Sharpie is a great thing to have. These guys are the ultra fine point. You know, you don't have to go that far with them, but they work really well. And the notepads for kind of marking down, you know, a lot of, you know, making notes, of course. And if you're done in the medical field at all, first responders or, you know, first aid courses, you know the acronyms of sample. You know how to take blood pressure, you know how to monitor blood pressure if you've done the wilderness side of stuff. And you know, that's what this is for. You know, write that down. Write other stuff down in here. You could put notes in here for, you know, those things that you need to keep up on. I've been doing this been in kind of the medical field for a little while, so you know, some stuff sticks. Some other stuff takes a few more years for it to finally stick. So, you know, a notepad, make your notes in there. You know, if you have a step-by-step thing that you go to when you first get to a scene, or you first get into an injured person, you know, write that down in here. You know, follow the plan there. If there's stuff that, well, I mean, it's a notebook, so write stuff down in the notebook, use it, make advantage of it, and it's a good thing to have around. After that, I did add this is a thermal blanket. It says survival wrap on it, but it's basically a space blanket. So, you know, if I'm at a spot where I can't move a person, or if they get cold, and you know what, you know, throw a thermal blanket on them. You know, try and keep them warm or warm them up as much as I can. After that, I did add some more cravats. These are triangle bandages, if you don't know what a cravat is. And then these ones are actually homemade. These are just made out of a bed sheet I had at the time. So, you know, it's big triangle-ish thing here. Big triangle there, nice and big. And there's a million and one things you can do with a cravat. So, you know, having a few extra on hand is never a bad thing. Excuse me while I blind you with my cravat. There we go. There are a couple sizes I carry with me. This is one of the smaller ones, I believe, and then I have a couple bigger one in here. This is my little cravat bag. But you know, a million and one things you can do with a cravat, so they're handy to have around. And you know, you can never have enough of these, like you can never have enough carabiners or tape. So cravats, nice things to have around. I think that's it for the medical side of things that I keep in my medical bag. The only other thing that I have in here actually is I carry my Zdrag kit in here as well. Another nice bag that says Zdrag on it, so you can't be mistaken about what this bag is. Even if you pick it up and realize this thing's really heavy and full of metal, it says Zdrag right there on the bag, so you can't mistake what this is. And why do I carry this in my medical kit? Well, medical kit I'm always going to be carrying with me, so it just makes sense for me to keep this in my bag, and there's room for it, so let's do it that way. And the other reason is I don't really want to be carrying this much weight on my life jacket. There's a lot of metal in here. I mean, lots of carabiners, lots of pulleys, and there's a lot of rope and webbing in here too, and I don't think my pulleys are actually a seal bearing pulley, so I really don't want them rusting on me. If I can help it, I'd rather have them running smoothly, how a pulley should be running, so I can actually use it to set up a Z-drag and actually have full mechanical advantage when leveraging a boat out of a river, or you know, any other piece of gear that there is out of the river. I probably will go through a video about this whole kit here, how I set it up, you know, what the pieces of the kit I do carry with me, but that's another video. So that's the last thing I carry in this bag at the moment. There are a few things that I would like to carry more in this bag here. My bag again, see, nice size. And those are very simple. I got at least 3 things I want to carry with me. There might be a 4th thing in there. The first thing is just a tube of glucose. There used to be, at least when I first got the main kit from NRS, there was a little tube of glucose, looked like a toothpaste tube. But I actually had to throw it out because the tube ruptured, and when it did that, it was kind of unusable. So that was a bad thing. If you guys are kind of wondering what glucose is, or glucosamine, it's basically sugar. It's more for the diabetic rafters, paddlers, kayakers, whatever. It's to help them kind of stabilize themselves a little bit, and kind of out there. There's kind of a rule of thumb that you can't give a diabetic too much glucose. The danger of diabetics is if their blood sugar gets too low. I might be having this a little bit backwards, you know, it all does with insulin levels and whatnot. So if you're a diabetic or you know more about this, you know, please feel free to correct me below. I'd love to, you know, get that right. But as far as I am concerned, if I see there's a diabetic going into diabetic shock, you know, they're getting a straight shot of glucose. I say straight shot, it's not bad, you know, it comes in a paste. You just rub it on their lips or the tongue, or, you know, hopefully their lips, because you don't really want to be sticking your fingers in their mouth, especially if they're going into like a seizure. But just rub it on their lips and, you know, give them a bit of time and let them recover. The main thing I want to, the main reason why I want to carry glucose instead of like a candy or anything like that is I want to be aware of people's allergies out there. So I know there's people that are allergic to, you know, nuts, peanuts and whatnot. And then I actually went to, well, actually I had a sister who had a friend who was allergic to cocoa, so she couldn't have chocolate. So at least like milk chocolate and whatnot. So I want to be kind of self-conscious to that. That's why I just want to carry a straight like glucose tube, so that I could be more observant of that. So that's one thing I want to carry. The second thing I want to carry that I don't have at the moment are ace bandages or ace wraps. You know, the brown things that stretch, you can wrap stuff up really tight with. I used to have a few of them. I know I gave one to a person some time ago. I never got it back. And there was a ace bandage I used to have a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago. I don't remember, but it disappeared as well. So I'm sure it's floating around in my house somewhere, but I can't find it at the moment. So I'm going to try and track that down. And the last thing I want to add, and this sounds a little morbid, but I want to add some tourniquets to my kit as well. Tourniquets, you can actually find professional military grade tourniquets out on Amazon. There's actually spots you can pick up a pack of 3 for like 25 bucks, I think. You know, they're really self-explanatory. They're really self-explaining and whatnot. And there's this procedure that actually started out with the troops out there in the field. So a big thank you to anyone in the armed forces. For your service, of course, and your service towards the medical field, because a lot of the techniques we're learning in the medical field is actually coming back from the war zones and whatnot. But they're finding that the quicker they can get a tourniquet on somebody and stop the bleeding is actually saving lives. I'm sure you might lose your limb, but there have been cases where people have been coming back from the field, both in the war zones and out here in the wilderness and whatnot, where if they get back in a timely manner, the limb could actually be saved. So that's a good thing to hear. And then another big thing is life over limb any day. If I have to sacrifice my arm to save my life, I'm going to do it. So that's why I want to carry a tourniquet. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you guys do one more big thing for me, I actually have a shop. I've had it for a while now. The link's down below. There might be something here somewhere on screen again. But I have some t-shirt designs out there. I put one out a couple weeks ago that I think was actually absolutely awesome. You know, check it out. There's also more than t-shirts there. There's mugs, there's phone cases, there's computer cases. There's a whole bunch of stuff out there on the shop, so check it out. And I will catch you guys in the next video.